We have Stacia Scaduto here. She represents Commercial Utility Consultants, or otherwise CUC. She is our, I guess, our client representative that put together our energy aggregation program. And in the past couple of weeks, we've had a couple of issues that have come to our attention, some developments in particular, with some changes that occurred. And I thought it might be a good idea to ask Stacia to actually come to a council meeting and give us an update of what's going on, and maybe make yourself available after you get done speaking to us for any residents that may want to reach out to her directly. So Stacia, if you could come up. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Thanks for asking me to be here tonight. Happy to be here. Just a couple updates. We're 10 months into the energy aggregation program. Started September and October of last year, going through currently, and this particular term or contract term will end at the end of December. As you're aware, part of the terms of the contract through the supplier, which is Tri-Eagle Energy. Tri-Eagle must always remain below the JCP&L rate, even their lowest rate. So for the summer rate, they have two tiers, an under 600 kilowatt and an over 600 kilowatt rate. So what Tri-Eagle did coming up through the summer is reduce their rate from the 9,709 rate to 9,449, so that this way that they were below all of the summer tiers for JCP&L to make sure that nobody was paying more. What happened then is for any resident on a budget bill or equal payment plan program, that caused a reconciliation to their account. And that happens, it happens once a year when you're an equal payment customer, depending on when you signed up, so they use that as kind of your anniversary term. It happened earlier because the equal payment plan is based off a rate over a term over your average usage. So because the rate was lowered, that affected a reconciliation earlier than the September timeframe. So we attempted to get some notices out to residents a little bit earlier. Some of them coincided, or residents got their bills before they got the letter to notify them. So there were about 2,000 customers that were on budget bill. About 400 of them got some kind of a reconciliation that was not a credit. So about 1,600 still had credits on their account. Moving into it, about 400 got some kind of a reconciliation. Most were under $100. We identified approximately 43 or so that had over $150 reconciliation. So we reached out to JCP&L saying, hey, there's some folks here, because unfortunately a lot of those folks were in the villages, maybe on a fixed income. So we wanted to make sure that they were offered any kind of help that they might need. And then furthermore, we also found through that there were approximately 5 customers out of that 43 that actually did not request to ever be on budget bill. So this was a glitch that we found as this came up, and didn't know it until obviously they got their reconciliation and we became aware of it. Again, working with JCP&L, I was made aware that JCP&L reached out to those customers, or at least attempted to say, hey, sorry that happened. What can we do to help you? So that's where we're at right now as far as that. Overall, again, moving into it, I think it's still a very successful program. Folks are saving compared to the JCP&L rate. About $375,000 saved so far to date, and on an average about 8,600 customers still in the program. So that's what I have so far.
Does any other members of the governing body have any questions for CUC?
Just a question. After they received the notification about the true-up payments, were there any further inquiries? And if so, how many people had tried to contact your office who still exhibited some? Oh, I'm sorry, my phone's on. My microphone's on. After the true-up process took place and the notifications went out by your company regarding how you're going to reconcile the bill based upon the recalculation of the rates, were there still individuals, or if you can quantify the number of people who called you up who still were confused or unsure of the system and still had issues regarding understanding the process?
I would say that all in all, I talked to 8 or 10 people in total. Yeah, I did receive some information from staff and council, was unable to probably reach maybe 3 that had reached out. Again, left messages, didn't hear back from anybody, so, perhaps they spoke with JCP&L or somebody else that they got help through. So that was about it.
So you think the matter's basically put to rest at this point, that the information was appropriate in terms of notifying the residents who participated in the program?
For the most part, I think so. I mean, obviously, there's still residents that are probably upset that they received this reconciliation, especially if it was a couple $100s. I mean, I would be too, understandably. But again, as I said, the folks, the customer care team that I work with through aggregations, I think did a lot to try to reach out also and make sure that they knew that the installment plans were available and that they were there to help and do anything that they could do for them as well.
And did any of those customers wish to remove themselves from the budget plan because of the possibility of...
I think several of them actually opted out of the
Yeah, I think-
energy aggregation
Yeah,
program.
I think some opted out and some went off of, and a couple waffled.
I'll get you,
because,
sir. I see you.
They thought the budget plan was a good thing because they weren't paying $300, $400, $500 electric bills in the wintertime, but at the same time, you kind of have to, there's a point where you have to pay what you used for, so.
Right. And I think once they had that dialogue and they understood exactly what was going on, because it was a relatively small group of people that were affected, the villages where they're the anomaly that they actually have higher electric bills in the winter than most people do in the summer because of their electric heating systems. But right away, we contacted Stacia, and she reached out to the utility to work out some things on their behalf. And I've received numerous phone calls back, actually thanking them for the response that we gave them and for Stacia's involvement. So I think we've addressed it.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I'm good.
No, I just wanted to say, it's not something, obviously, that we wanted to happen. So we sincerely apologize that one customer received anything in error. So when we're doing something on a large scale like this, but that's why we like to act swiftly and try to help people as much as we can when something does happen.
Just in retrospect, would there be any way going forward if we experience the same situation where the notification process could be improved upon, or?
Absolutely, and I think moving forward, if we decide to do the program again, the budget bill has become sort of like its own separate little animal, if you will, because there's a lot of idiosyncrasies, and sometimes people don't even really understand, oh, yeah, I'll go on budget bill, but they don't understand really what it is. So I would probably dedicate, we sent out a couple pieces of paper with the notifications. I would probably dedicate a page to that saying, if you're a budget bill customer, here's some things to be aware of and consider if any of these options or process isn't acceptable to you, you might not want to be in the program.
Okay. Well, Stacia, I want to thank you. I mean, at the last meeting, obviously, I was a little upset. It was on the heels of receiving quite a few of the residents' concerns, and I always take that pretty serious. So, but you actually jumped all over it, and I think we got some good results for our residents. So I want to thank you for your involvement in that.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. And if I can just make one more comment.
Of course.
We work with a lot of municipalities throughout the state and doing programs or working with municipal businesses. I just want to comment on your staff. You have a phenomenal staff. Allison, Penny, Jeff, McKenna, they've all been a real pleasure and an honor to work with.
Yeah, they're okay.
We feel the same way about her.
And Stacia, since I expect that some residents may have some questions, and they'll probably ask them during the part of the meeting that's open to public, would you mind maybe just grabbing a seat, and maybe I'll ask them to come up now and take advantage of it if they may have a question that might benefit other people who might see this on TV,
My
okay?
pleasure.
All right. Actually, this gentleman over on the left came up first. You can sit right at one of those things, and those microphones on the table will pick you up if you want to just stay there. No, sir, you can come up to the microphone. If I could just get you to give me your name and your address, please.
My name is Joseph Brady. I live in the Villages in Howell.
Hello, Mr. Brady. How are you?
I was put on a budget without my knowledge. I'm here 20 years, never on a budget.
Okay.
All of a sudden, I get a bill, $339, and they said you were behind on your budget payments. I said, what are you talking about? I called Tri-Eagle in Texas 2 or 3 times. They were blaming JCP&L, and they were going back and forth blaming everybody, each other. So I want to know, how did I get on the budget? I showed the deputy mayor bills before this thing come into effect from JCP&L. I was never on the budget. Somebody put me on the budget. And then on the bill where it said, pay this amount, I always paid it. Then I looked, the guy in Texas says, well, look on the bottom of your bill. You haven't paid your budget. I said, what are you talking about? I was never on the, who put me on the budget?
Well, you were paying your budget, but if you were on the budget, you weren't actually paying for the full amount of electricity that you were using, which is what the budget plan is, right?
But I wasn't,
No, I got you.
I got to authorize somebody to
Yeah.
put me on the budget. I never authorized anybody.
I understand.
So that's the first thing. They put me on the budget
Okay.
that I didn't want to know nothing about. I
Okay.
thought I was going to save money. I had to pay more money.
Okay, hang on. Let's
Go ahead.
answer the, Stacia, would you be able to give some,
How was I put on the budget?
Well, I don't really, other than just saying that it was an error when I got the information from JCP&L, okay? So like I said, there were approximately 2,000 customers that we were notified, and you were obviously one of those who were identified, and maybe at some point a very long time ago, you had elected a budget bill option, so there was something
The
checked.
first year I moved the house.
That's what it is.
20 years ago.
So
I was on it for a year and I got off.
That's what it
I
was.
could show you. I got my bills from the day I moved
Yeah.
in there 20 years ago.
okay, so Stacia, so for this gentleman now, was he one of the ones that we've gone through and contacted JCP&L to get him on the plan that he wanted?
has JCP&L contacted you and
No.
taken, okay.
Okay,
So I can work
I
with,
called JCP&L and the girl said to me, you'll still have to pay Tri-Eagle,
Okay.
2 more cycles. That's what she told me.
okay. Well, I'll give you my
I'm back with
information.
JCP&L.
Okay.
They put me back on there.
Okay.
Okay.
So then let's do this, Mr. Brady, when we get done hearing some other residents, I'll just ask Stacia and you maybe just in the back to make sure you trade information, so that way if you have any other future problems, that you can work directly with Stacia, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Yes, ma'am?
I'm also from the Villages.
Can you just give me your name and
My name
address,
is
please?
Lillian Finley, 69C Jamestown Road, the Villages.
Good evening, how are you?
Hi. Well, I'm upset. I received a bill from Tri-Eagle for $597.39, due on July 7th, 2015. Under the recommendation of Howell Township, I switched to Tri-Eagle thinking I received a letter from Howell Township that Tri-Eagle would save me money as a senior citizen on a budget. So I thought, good, okay. You recommended it, I'll go with it. When I received this bill, I almost had a massive myocardial infarction. Do you know what that is?
It's a heart attack.
Yeah.
I just had one, ma'am.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, I hope you're
Try-
taking your aspirin every day.
I am.
Okay. And, you called the number. I spoke to somebody in Texas who wasn't very smart, wasn't very helpful, really didn't give me any recourse. So that day, I called JCP&L and said, please take me back. I don't know how this happened. This is crazy. I will never switch from JCP&L to any of these fly-by-night companies.
Well, that's not what this is, ma'am. I understand your concern.
Why are they in Texas and we're in New Jersey? I don't understand that.
Because they're the energy provider, ma'am.
Well, that doesn't make sense. I'd rather speak to somebody in my own
Okay,
state.
so I understand. So at this point, you would be happy with staying as a JCP&L customer
Yes.
and doing exactly what you were doing before?
Absolutely never
So-
again will I switch to any
Okay,
other company.
So Ms. Scaduto will make sure that she accommodates that for you, okay?
Well, I really don't want to talk to her. I've already talked to JCP&L. I just want you to be aware that this
So
is
you've-
a very upsetting
So
bill
you've
to
already-
receive.
So you've already taken care of it?
Yeah, I've switched back to JCP&L, but this should never have happened.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Is there anybody else on this particular topic? Yes, sir. Come on up. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Joe Larkin, 74A Patrick Henry Square.
Hello, Joe.
The information this young lady is giving out is incorrect. She said the average oversight was $100, $115 on a bill. Mine was $497. That's a little way from $150.
Correct.
JCP&L has not contacted us at all in order to help us rectify the situation, and I'm very unhappy with what my question is, am I going to be penalized now by this Texas electric company for going back with JCP&L?
No, you're going to have the same option that was discussed with the other lady, that you're going to have the opportunity to go back to the previous JCP&L budget plan that you had, and they will work with you to stay in the same program that you had at the same rate payment that you had, with no penalty for removing yourself from the Tri-Eagle program.
Well, I'm very unhappy with the board, considering that you were the folks that recommended it, and now we're in a bind. We're on fixed incomes. We don't have all this extra money to be putting out for electric bills that we didn't expect.
But if you, just to be clear, if you go back to the plan that you were on before, you would still be paying that money.
I understand that, but I was paying that money over 12 months, not 6 months.
And as a result of the other residents that have brought this to our attention, which, as Stacia said, was something that was not expected and we apologize for, you will have the opportunity to go back to the exact same plan that you were on and make the same payments the same way you were all along.
Mayor, thank you very much, but apologies don't help when I have to pay $497 on my electric bill.
Thank you, sir.
Did you use the electricity?
Is there anyone else? Okay. Stacia, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Dixell.
Okay. Well,
She just needs time.
oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry. Take your time.
She was behind the other.
I could, yeah, she was right in my line of sight. I didn't see her.
That you were hoping.
Out of the line of sight.
Probably right.
Hello, Barbara.
Hello. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Barbara Dixell, 62A Piazza Vittoria, Freehold, New Jersey. I'm actually too sick to be here tonight, but I'm here on behalf of the village's residents and the citizens of the Township of Howell. As you know, from day one, when they started with this triangle thing, I was against it from day one. I said, don't spend people's money. Don't put people in financial jeopardy. If it doesn't work, it's not going to be good. So you went ahead and did it. Nobody listened. Everybody was hell-bent on doing this. So you did it. I understand from residents that the council wasn't exactly happy with the contract, so you spoke with the Tri-Eagle or whatever this true-up thing was. I got a million phone calls on that, and I understand that. So, and I understand that they weren't exactly happy either. But what happened was, the electric company flipped out and sent out a cancellation notice to the village's residents that were on this program, and I got how many hundreds of phone calls? They call me, and they
Well,
say, we should have listened, just a minute, we should have
Yeah,
listened
but
to Barbara in the
But
beginning.
Mrs. Dixell, okay, do we know that cancellation notices went out?
Yes, because-
Okay.
because they read it.
And we know that out of the 400 and some odd residences in the villages, we know that there were less than 50, we believe, were on a budget plan.
Correct.
So, and this issue, this particular issue that we're talking about would have only affected people that were on the budget plan with the true-up because of a result in the rate structure with Tri-Eagle.
Correct. And
Right.
also,
Okay, so let's just keep it under, under some wraps here so that we can understand what the true exposure was and the number of
Okay, well,
residents that were
anyway,
affected.
Okay, I got phone calls from people with 900, 600, 500. I said, go back to JCP&L right now.
And
But they
what-
still
and
have-
did-
But they still have to pay the bill.
Of course they do, because it's
Okay,
electricity
well,
that they
you know what?
used.
I have to ask you something. Years ago, Monmouth County told Howell Township to float a bond to pay for property taxes that people were overpaid. I'm going to ask you, will Howell Township float a bond to pay for the village's residents who live on Social Security, who can barely eat and pay their rent now? Will you people float a bond to pay for these overcharges?
Absolutely not.
Wait, can I just?
No, no,
just
no, it's
quick-
not, it's not necessary.
But
We're
they're
good.
not
The
overcharges.
answer to your question is absolutely not.
it's
What
not
else,
fair.
what else do you have, Mrs. Dixon?
Okay, well, then I have to tell you, it is my opinion, sir, that I am truly disappointed in the council, and I am truly disappointed with your leadership as the mayor of Howell Township.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good night.
You too.
Does any other residents have any other comments on this topic? Thank you, Stacia. Appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a wonderful evening.